Good evening. Welcome to Building One Community's very first virtual benefit. I am Sarita Hanley, and I have the great honor of being one of the founding members of this impressive organization. And this evening, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming you. Tonight is very important for us as we celebrate a decade of hard work, always focused on making sure our immigrant neighbors have a strong opportunity to succeed. We are truly grateful for your participation, and we send out a big thank you to you, our donors, our sponsors, volunteers, staff, and board members who have been with us throughout this journey since we became a dream come true a decade ago. In 2011, we opened our doors to become the welcoming point of entry for newcomers from all parts of the world. Immigrants who relied on a patchwork of services in a system that didn't fully understand their needs. The immigrants in our community were not engaged in our society until a grassroots effort began with a group of us who got together to create a unique place solely with the immigrants in mind. This has become a place where over 10,000 of Stanford area immigrants and non-immigrants have come together to build one stronger community. Tonight, we are kicking off our 10th anniversary celebration. This is the start of a year filled with special events and celebratory media posts. So be on the lookout for these announcements on various social media platforms. For most of the past decade, the Immigrant Center has been a home away from home for many of our immigrants. We've offered opportunities in education, empowerment programs, new job skills, access to job opportunities, legal assistance, and much more. You will learn more about these shortly. Then, COVID happened, and we had to quickly pivot and become a lifeline for the immigrant community. And later, you will see an impressive video describing how we adapted to these needs that were created by the pandemic. Tonight, you will also hear about the amazing things we have accomplished, the programs we are currently working on, and more importantly, our plans for the future. To help those plans become a reality, today we're putting forth a $100,000 challenge. This is the amount of money we have yet to reach, as we already have been able to raise a little over $250,000 out of our $350,000 total, which we need to come out even. Thanks to your generous supporters, we do have 2/3 of the donations needed, but we need to close the gap by raising $100,000 for our final stretch. We are counting on you to make this end goal possible. Please be as generous as possible during this event, as the pandemic hurt our beneficiaries harder than most. As you know, most of our beneficiaries are either day workers or families who work in the service industries, and they lost their jobs right away. This is the hard reality for many of our registered participants. Wait till you hear about the many things we did for them. Now, before I introduce this evening's two other MCs, I need to share with you an important announcement. Unfortunately, our beloved Executive Director, Anka Badurina, is not able to join us in person today. At the moment, Anka has a family emergency, but it did not stop her from recording meaningful messages for you to see at this evening. We are now going to share her first video, sending her warm greetings. We welcome Anka.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual benefit. I wish I could be with all of you tonight, but unfortunately, a personal emergency didn't allow me to. However, I am thrilled to kick off this very special event as we honor a decade of building one community. We have an exciting agenda ahead of us, so get ready to hear from our board members, former founding members, staff, partners, participants, and our dedicated volunteers. Enjoy the evening as we look at our accomplishments, what makes B1C what it is today, and collectively celebrate our promising future. So thank you again for being here and for your continued support tonight and always. We can't thank you enough.
This is a heartwarming video. Thank you, Anka, for the many things you managed to get done so well. Next, I have the pleasure to introduce to you our chair of the board, Ann Downey. Ann volunteers tirelessly, keeping us all working together as a cohesive, passionate team to make sure we stay on track fulfilling our mission. Our mission is to advance the successful integration of immigrants and their families, a mission we cannot continue without your support. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you, Sarita, and welcome to all who are joining us this evening for the celebration of our 10th anniversary. I'm Ann Downey and have the privilege of serving as the board chair of Building One Community. As Sarita mentioned, the idea for this organization started long before our doors opened 10 years ago here at 75 Selig Street. It was more like 12 to 13 years ago that Kathy Walsh, Kathy Astu, and Catalina Horak would meet every week for coffee to brainstorm how to start an organization that would be both a trusted community center and a trusted resource for the immigrant population in Stamford, and one that would not duplicate the services and programs that were readily available in the area. That group of 3 was able to recruit 60 individuals and community partners to work together to make their dream a reality. After 2 years of meetings, field trips to nonprofits that were doing similar work in other places, extensive searches for an appropriate location, and of course some fundraising, we opened our doors in June of 2011 as Neighbors Link Stamford. And then in 2017, we rebranded and changed the name to Building One Community, the Center for Immigrant Opportunity, as you know it today.
Thank you, Anne. Now I have the pleasure to introduce to you Don Strait, our Deputy Director who works closely with ANCA. He knows much about the programs we offer at Building One Community. He is now our other MC as he's pitch hitting for ANCA during this event. Welcome, Don.
Good evening. I'm Don Strait, the Deputy Director of Building One Community. It's my pleasure to co-MC this evening's program, filling in for ANCA. I became Deputy Director a year ago after serving B1C as a volunteer for almost 3 years. Since B1C started 10 years ago, our goal has always been the same: to help immigrants successfully navigate life in the U.S. and become an integral part of the community. What has changed over time are the specific programs and methods we've used to achieve that goal. We've been proud of our ability to respond as needs change and the community itself changes. To give you an overview, B1C has served more than 13,000 immigrants from 108 countries. We've implemented programs like English language learning, immigration legal services, job skills training, and helping parents improve their children's education. Our volunteers, who are absolutely essential to the work we do, have contributed more than 100,000 hours to support our mission. And most recently, during the pandemic, we've been able to provide and direct more than $1.2 million in assistance to individuals and families who faced devastating health and economic impacts from the pandemic. Many of the immigrants we have helped are ineligible for most forms of government assistance, so their circumstances are dire. In a remarkable show of support from our community, more than $650,000 of this support came from our donors. We constantly evaluate and enhance and fine-tune our programming based on extensive research, analytics, and what the community tells us about their needs. This evening we are thrilled to present you with a film celebrating our 10 years. Thank you to our video production team for putting together this film. Let's take a look.
In Connecticut, the immigrant population, the foreign-born population, is about 15–16%. Half of the state undocumented population resides in Fairfield County. And they do so because this is where the jobs are. They are our landscapers, our cleaning ladies, our nannies.
They were the most vulnerable in our community. It was just not the language barriers. It was like this holistic lack of understanding of the system and the system taking advantage of them just because they didn't have the tools.
From the very beginning, our concern had been to being a place where immigrant voices were heard.
Race and skin color and language are all things that can be used as barriers. We wanted to celebrate that diversity. One of the things that we always thought was really, really important was it's not one group of people helping another group. It's groups of people helping each other.
Building One Community has been very instrumental in helping us connect with families that are most marginalized, our immigrant families.
People need to understand that we have a very complicated immigration system that has been politicized, and until we all understand the human side of it, we're not going to come up with real solutions. It's our responsibility as community leaders to come up with solutions in our own communities. This is about getting to know each other. If you don't feel that people in your community see you as a human, then we're not going to be able to have full contributors to the community.
When immigrants come to this country, yes, they want security, they want food, and they want shelter, but they really want to make a life and be parts of the community. I think they really want to belong. They want to be part of the fabric of a city, of a town. Building One Community mission is to advance the successful integration of immigrants and their families. And our idea is to do that by integrating them into the larger community.
I met Carlos and Lorena and the kids very soon after we opened the center. At that point, Carlos was doing his GED, and he was working very hard during the day and going to school every night. And he said this to me recently. He said, I knew that Lorena and the kids would be safe because Lorena was coming to B1C at night to take classes. There was babysitting for the kids, and she was not alone. So when he got his GED, it was a big celebration for all of us, and we all felt like a sense of pride because we had supported the family.
Carlos and his family is kind of our quintessential immigrant family. He has an incredible work ethic, an amazing drive, not only for him to thrive, but also for his family and the community at large. Carlos has become a prosperous entrepreneur, and along his way, he has hired day workers from our center.
Carlos asked me if he could have a conversation with me on a Saturday afternoon, and he told me that he was thinking about buying a business, the landscaping business that he had worked for. He saw that as a great opportunity, and he had been saving money. So I said, I'm here to support you, but at the same time, I don't have the tools to analyze a business. I have someone who has that background, who I think will be very interested in helping you. Bruce was very involved in the effort to create B1C from day one. He was one of those big champions, investors, people who saw that there was a lot of potential, and the rest is history. For Carlos and his family, the actual programs, the English language learning, the child care, they work with the schools, were critical. But I think the most important thing for Carlos was that humanization. And knowing that Bruce, somebody from a completely different background, an affluent, successful business person, cared so much about him. It's a beautiful story of everything that we wanted to do from day one, right? Understanding the need, giving people the tools, having the person from the affluent community sit at the same table with somebody like Carlos. His kids are on a great path right now. Carlitos is at the International Baccalaureate Magnet School in Stanford. Lorena, through Power, put all the time and effort into the system, so these kids have the opportunity to go to college. Mirthala is now in Stanford High, and also great student, very determined. When I think about them and when I think about the kids, my heart gets just so full of joy to see them embracing this opportunity. We are who we are because of people like Carlos. And we will be who we want to be in the future because we built on people like Carlos, and it's the combination of many Carloses and Lorenas and Mirthalas and Carlitos that make our community what it is.
We are very proud of Carlos Rivera's success, having come here from Honduras. He and his family have participated in many of our B1C programs and services over the years. So we're especially excited to have Carlos here tonight, and he will now share a few words. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. When I think about what B1C means to me and my family, I have a hard time putting it into words. It is about support and gratitude. It is about feeling at home, being part of a family. It is about feeling welcome and part of the Stanford community. Thanks to B1C, we have had the opportunity to meet and have a relationship with so many people, like my mentor, Bruce Cole, like the principals of our children's schools, like the police chief, and even Stanford's mayor. Thanks to all that we have learned at B1C from so many people who are part of this organization, I am now a small business owner, and I have a successful landscaping company. The dream that I had as a new immigrant when I came to this country is now a reality. The dream to give my children a life with the opportunities that I did not have growing up in Honduras. My goal is to be a great father and husband, to be an example to others of what we can achieve as immigrants in a place like Stanford when you have the support of a community. I know that B1C will always continue to be part of my life and my family's like they have been for the last 10 years. Thank you. I'm so glad I can be here.
Carlos, you are an inspiration to us all. We're so glad you could join us this evening. And now I'd like to thank Catalina Horak, Kathy Walsh, our founding board chair, and Kathy Astu, founding board member, for your outstanding contributions to Building One Community. As the film showed, they all had incredible passion, dedication, and know-how to propel B1C to where we are today. Tonight, it is my honor to present an award to one of these leaders that started it all. Our former executive director, a founder, our mentor, and our friend, Catalina Samper-Horak. We had hoped to honor her at the breakfast last year, but that was not meant to be due to COVID restrictions. Instead, in June 2020, the board passed a resolution to name the building here at 75 Selleck Street the Catalina Samper-Horak Center in honor of Catalina and in recognition of her many contributions to B1C. I hope all of you in the audience will have a chance to stop by the center and see the plaque outside our door. Catalina is a woman with amazing determination, resilience, and passion. A woman who took an idea and turned it into a reality, changing the lives of so many. Welcome, Catalina.
Thank you, Anne, for your kind words. It is hard to believe that we're recognizing the last 10 years and the work that so many of us did when we were considering starting an organization dedicated to addressing the holistic needs of the low-income immigrants in Stanford. When I reflect on why we were able to launch this organization that under Anka's leadership and with the support of a committed board and staff is reaching new heights, many thoughts and emotions come to my mind. First and foremost, the grassroots aspect, the relationships, and the intentionality. Knowing that the most critical thing that we needed to do was to build trust and connections, making sure that the voice of the immigrant community was our driving force. Countless individuals and groups from many walks of life joined this effort and were incredible contributors. The Kathy's Catalina trio that Anne mentioned had one role: steer the vessel and keep it going. The vessel were groups like Crisol and Quetzal, the local grassroots efforts who understood the needs, who had walked the walk, and were willing to work with us. Their sense of ownership and connection with thousands of individuals from many countries and their understanding of the multiple and complex needs resulted in the creation of our center, one that we built together. When I think about opening day on June 12 of 2011, what comes to my mind is the pride from over 150 people who were there. Day worker, local immigrant families from the neighborhood, the faith-based community, and volunteers and donors from North Stanford, Chippan, Darien, and beyond. We were all celebrating our center, a place that we had built together, where everyone had a voice, regardless of their ethnicity, nationality, or language skills. We did it, what everyone was saying again and again. We built it in the neighborhood where the individuals and families who wanted to participate in our programs lived. We built it with multicultural and multilingual staff who understood their needs. We built it with volunteers who value their contributions of immigrants and saw their humanity. We built it with the support of city officials, the mayor, the police chief, the school superintendent. We built it in partnership with many local nonprofits who did not see us as a competition. From day one, hundreds of people and countless partners recognized that this brand new organization was an asset to Stanford. We embarked on a partnership of trust and mutual learning that has impacted thousands of local immigrants. The receptivity to our message and the way people embrace this new idea surpassed all our expectations. When I was repeatedly asked by our program participants at the very beginning, Catalina, why are people here helping us? Why do they volunteer? My answer was always very simple. This is a country of immigrants. People see you as a human being with hopes and dreams. Just like the ones that their grandparents or great-grandparents had, we're all part of this community. The initial vision to become a go-to place that immigrants would go to when needing new information, or when they're looking for a place to learn, or when they felt like we needed a sense of belonging, became a reality way before we expected it. Our mission and vision resonated at many levels, from learning events for the wider community, to the elected officials, to adult and youth volunteers, to school teachers and administrators, to local immigrants just at the laundromat down the street, where families new to Stanford were told, if you need help registering your kids for school, or you want to learn English, just go up the street, they will help you. The pictures of Lorena and his voice, and Carlos's voice, say much more than my own words. The connection of the entire family with our center started from day one. Their voices helped shape our parent organizing program, our workforce development, and our English classes. Their participation in family nights, where we danced and celebrated, created a sense of community that extended to every single one of us. This is what we dreamed of 12 years ago and what B1C is all about today. A place where individual stories of strength and determination bring us together and connect us. A place that makes our entire community stronger. Thanks to the thousands of people from over 100 countries that I had the honor to meet during my 10 years at B1C, to the incredibly dedicated staff, past and present, and especially to Anka, and to the board members, to the inspiring volunteers, and to all the thought partners and donors who invested in our dream and challenged us to reach new heights, I personally see the world through a whole new lens. I've gained much more than I was ever able to contribute. To every single one of you who has been part of this amazing endeavor, thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to play a role in this incredible journey. The last 12 years have been transformative for me and have enriched my life beyond what I can express here tonight.
Thank you, Catalina, for those inspiring words and for all that you have given over the years to make B1C what it is today. We know you poured your heart and soul into this organization, and for that, we are most grateful. As Sarita mentioned, we have a goal of $350,000 to meet tonight, and we're asking for your help in getting there. It's super easy to donate on Event Gives. Click any of the buttons below to donate in any amount. There will be a pop-up where you can enter your information, and you're all set. If you prefer to send a check, please send us a check to Building 1 Community, 75 Selleck Street, Stamford, Connecticut. Or you can give us a call now at 203-674-8585 if you need any assistance. As many of you know, the annual spring breakfast, which brought more than 500 of us together at the Marriott, was not in the cards this year. The breakfast is our biggest fundraiser, and we've been fortunate to have been sold out in the past several years. Instead, we are here with you live tonight, albeit virtually, to ask for your support for the immigrant community, which this long pandemic has impacted so severely. Since the earliest days of COVID, B1C was able to pivot quickly and continue offering many of our programs remotely through the amazing volunteers who are the backbone of Building 1 Community. Sarita, can you tell us more about how the staff pivoted during COVID?
Yes, what a sight it was to see how the staff did pivot right away. It was done in an efficient and brilliant manner. walking into the center at the peak of the pandemic and see this vast space become an emergency station with tables holding an impressive amount of food, diapers, items for health, and other necessary items. B1C was also a site for the grab-and-go lunches provided by Stanford Public Schools. And we had bags lunches for the day workers that were provided by our partner, New Covenant Center. In addition, we had grocery gift cards available so that our families could buy food. Plus, we provided rent relief to chosen families. Everything you would need to keep a family afloat when you don't have any income. It is the sad reality that many of our families had zero income because they became unemployed immediately in March 2020. Our families are the most vulnerable population who are still vulnerable as they're trying to get back to finding jobs. Therefore, we continue to help with grocery cards in this year 2021. We have to. These are the folks you are supporting today with your donation. To make matters worse for our beneficiaries, some of our families became sick with COVID-19. Our impressive volunteers were there for them. They delivered meals to the homes of those who suffered from this scary disease, and the volunteers did it for the duration of their illness. This is what we do. We come up with unique solutions to help our immigrant families at their most difficult time. Taking care of our immigrant families takes a lot of money, and this is why we're asking you to be generous with your donation today, so we can meet our final goal of $350,000. As we're still in the shadows of this pandemic, we know that the unemployed are having a hard time to make ends meet as they try to catch up. Our goal is doable. Your help goes a long way. Please press that button below. It's that easy. We can do it together.
Our family of volunteers are a critical part of B1C's success. Every day, volunteers play such an integral part in helping us move our mission forward. As I said earlier, our volunteers have contributed more than 100,000 hours to support us. We clearly could not have had such a tremendous impact on our community without their dedication and generosity. For many of our volunteers, coming to B1C is a highlight in their lives. It just feels good. They have fun and see firsthand how they can support immigrants and give them the tools to succeed in our community. I started at B1C as a volunteer English language tutor. I loved the experience, both the participants I met and the organization itself, and I offered my time and skills as a former director of an environmental organization to help B1C in other areas. I was pulled in by the amazing energy, determination, and caring of B1C's staff, and even more so by the determination of our participants. For the participants, it's a beautiful chance to form new friendships and develop both their literacy and interpersonal skills. They gain confidence and begin speaking more freely. Tonight, we want to share with you one English language volunteer and participant story. This is just one of the many special bonds that have formed through our volunteer program. Meet Alejandro and Ron.
When you go to different country, you have to start from zero. And that's a very challenging experience. So the first step is learn English.
When you're learning a foreign language, you have to allow yourself to make a lot of mistakes, to fall down, to get better. What I'm hoping they get from these classes is the confidence to fail to improve. I like to think that I am helping these students, these friends of mine, gain opportunities that will make their lives better.
Like everything, the first time you feel scared, but then I realized there are more people here like me, Hispanic people, people from Europe, people from Africa, and this was a very nice experience.
Alejandro is from Venezuela, and he's a good guy. Here's a guy who speaks English well enough. He doesn't have to study it anymore, but he wants the opportunity to do better in his life.
One day I decided to walk around and I find a job just 2 blocks from here nearby. The manager decided to interview me. I feel very comfortable because 20 minutes ago I was studying, I was practicing English. and I got it.
Immigrants have to prove themselves, rightly or wrongly, fairly or unfairly. Immigrants have to work twice as hard to get anywhere. That they're willing to make that effort, that they're willing to come to B1C to improve themselves is a testimony to their dedication to live a better life for themselves and for their families.
My wife, she feels fulfilled, she feels satisfied 100%. She always reminds me, I think my dream is done. When I saw my kids try to get the best of them, that's amazing because there are a lot of opportunities for them to do whatever they want.
So multiply that story by thousands, and you see how when you donate to B1C, you provide many, many immigrants a chance to participate in programs that help equip and empower them on their journey to achieve the American dream. Your continued support makes it possible to not just carry out our English language programs, but all of our programs to exist. So let's see how we're doing. We're at 272,000. That's fantastic. Thank you. Again, our numbers tell an incredible story. More than 13,000 total participants since inception. More than 5,000 adults and children supported with emergency relief during the pandemic. More than 1,300 received the COVID vaccine. And in 2020, even during the pandemic, our volunteers gave almost 3,500 hours of English language instruction. We served 650 legal services clients. More than 340 participants got training in our job skills development programs. A lot can happen when you dream big. We have even bigger goals and more milestones to reach in the future. Your support will help us continue to change individual lives and future generations.
At this time, I would like to recognize and honor an incredible group of people who served as board members when we opened our doors. Every one of them was part of that original planning group that I mentioned earlier, and they make up our founding board members. We'd like to thank them for their many contributions to getting us up and running, and here they are. To celebrate this group, we have dedicated a meeting room on the second floor to be called Founders Hall, and will install these plaques to honor their work. I'd also like to recognize those who may not have been on the original board, but joined shortly thereafter. Elias Sidro, our second board chair, Ginny Fox, Marianne Can, Morelis Vasquez, and Carmen Damancas, to name just a few. They too were instrumental in our success. To honor their contributions, we have created a board alumni group of all former board members. This group is committed to staying engaged with us and continuing to share their expertise and wisdom. Thank you to all of you. Now, Don will tell you more about how B1C pivoted during COVID to address the needs of the immigrant community.
There are really no words to describe 2020. It was a year like no other. Yet in the midst of a global pandemic and lockdown restrictions, we came together determined to move our mission forward. As the immigrant community faced unprecedented challenges, B1C found hope and inspiration in the outpouring of support from neighbors helping neighbors through these troubled times. We pivoted to maintain our programs and launch necessary new ones. As I mentioned earlier, we provided and directed more than $1.2 million in emergency relief funds and helped vaccinate more than 1,300 immigrants. We continue to provide positive public awareness to encourage vaccination. This is something to celebrate. Thank you for standing with us during our community's time of need. Let's take a look at some of our accomplishments and actions during the pandemic.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
More to the point, people have donated all this food right here. You can do more right here for Building 1 to step up as well and help. Believe me, there are thousands of people right here, just like you, that could use your help.
How much you really mean to me. Every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
As you saw in the video, in the early COVID days, we were focused on providing food and rent relief. More recently, we have shifted our focus to COVID testing and vaccine distribution, and could not have done that without the valued partners at community health centers and Stanford Health. Now, you will hear from Kathy Szilard, President and CEO of Stanford Health. While they have been a partner for more than 10 years, this partnership has grown tremendously during the pandemic. We're very grateful to this organization for supporting us in our efforts to take on COVID.
Stanford Health is happy to support Building 1 Community. I am honored to be able to address you all tonight as the President and CEO of Stanford Health on behalf of all of our medical professionals and other clinical staff. Our medical team have cared for over 1,400 COVID-19 hospitalized patients and tested and vaccinated tens of thousands by now, including many referred to us by Building 1 Community through our No Barriers program. Words cannot describe how dedicated and caring Stanford Health's medical team have been. My condolences do go out to everyone who has suffered as a result of this terrible virus. While not fully past the pandemic, we are quickly moving to a brighter day. At Stanford Health, we see relief wash across every patient's face when they receive the vaccine. And yesterday, we celebrated distributing our 50,000th dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and it was a joyous day. As a reminder, it will still be important when in public to continue to mask and watch your distance, even after being vaccinated. I want to thank Building One Community for its incredible leadership throughout the pandemic. It pivoted quickly to provide testing, food, and critical information about how to stay safe when the pandemic hit. We all know Stamford was an early hotspot because of our proximity to New York City. At the hospital, our data showed a disparate impact on the Latinx and Black communities in terms of accessing testing and being admitted to the hospital, and sadly, needing critical care and in some cases dying. We created a task force to address this through Stanford's Vita Health and Wellness Initiative, a consortium of not-for-profit providers collaborating together to address the community's needs. In the spring and the summer, many boots on the street delivered important information about the virus, along with masks and hand sanitizer, door to door in vulnerable neighborhoods. Stanford Health, along with the city, created the No Barriers program, where organizations like Building One Community that have the trust of their clientele refer people to Stanford Health during a block of time without pre-registering. We made it clear on our flyers that are in Spanish, Creole, and English that immigration status is not an issue, nor is an ID necessary when it is not available. Thank you, Anka, and your team for your essential contributions to the wellness of this community. I wish everyone a healthy and happy afternoon, and thanks again for all you're doing.
We have many more endearing moments as we work together as one community during the lowest point of the pandemic. COVID has taken a toll on our community, and the rebuilding will be ongoing effort by all of us. We are incredibly encouraged by everyone's contribution to rebuild and support one another. Therefore, I'd like to share the story of Jacqueline. Jacqueline was a former participant, a volunteer, and now a donor. She didn't hesitate to give back to B1C during COVID. She showed up at the center with bags full of groceries. She wanted to help others as B1C had supported her, and wanted to make sure she gave what she could to help others. This is just one example of many as we saw our community come together to support one another. We are grateful for any support you can give. Thankfully, we were able to provide an impressive amount of money in assistance with your donations given to us last year. That being said, we still have a long road to support immigrants' families as they rebuild this year. Today, your contributions will make a difference as we face the lingering impact of the pandemic. As we open the center, we need your support to start our in-person programs while simultaneously offering virtual classes for our adult program participants. All this takes time, effort, and yes, money. A donation of any size will make a difference. Please consider donating a little more, because a little goes a long way at building one community. Touch that button below. Go ahead. Please, don't be shy. The 3,316 beneficiaries we had here last year in 2020, thank you from the bottom of their hearts. So let's see how much we've raised so far. Tremendous, 274, almost 275,000. That's fantastic, good news. We're on our way to 350,000. Your generosity and care of immigrants give us a renewed confidence for what we can accomplish together. We look forward to rebuilding a better one community as we carefully transition to our new normal. We truly appreciate your generosity.
Sarita has asked you to be generous this evening. Many have already made donations, so now I would like to acknowledge our sponsors. This year we have more than 100 sponsors, and I'd like to show you who they are. Thank you to the many first-time sponsors, of which there are 51. We appreciate your trust in our mission and look forward to the day when we can gather at the center to thank you in person. We are so grateful to our individual sponsors' commitment to B1C and hope that we will continue to earn your support over the next 10 years. I also want to thank the organizations that are sponsors this year. You have been amazing partners, and we thank you for your confidence in us. Partnerships have been a critical factor in our success, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the importance of our government officials who have worked so closely with us. At the federal level, our Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy and Representative Jim Himes, who have been active supporters over the years. At the state level, you saw Governor Lamont was here, Lieutenant Governor Bisowitz, A.G. Tong, and the Stanford Greenwich Legislative Contingent, who have been strong partners before and through COVID. And at the city level, Mayor Martin's team, Stanford Police, and Stanford Public Schools have been instrumental in our success. Tonight, we have a special live guest who would like to say a few words. The mayor of our great city, the Honorable David Martin. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And yes, I am alive. There were moments where I wasn't certain during this whole pandemic. I just wanted to say two things tonight. And the first was about the pandemic. And you've heard the work that B1C did during this terrible, terrible year that we've had. And you heard about how they continued their programs to help the immigrant community and everyone that they could possibly help. I want to add just a little bit more. We were at the crossroads of the attack of this virus in the state of Connecticut, and certainly we were impacted by it very heavily. But we've done much better than any other diverse community in the state, and it is clear to me that B1C is a major reason why we did so much better than many others. With the testing programs that were here, the vaccination programs that are here. I was here just this last weekend where I think we did another 120, 130, somewhere. It's incredible what they have done. And the bottom line is this. B1C has saved lives. I don't know who they saved. They don't know who they saved. But fundamentally, they've done stuff to bring information and bring testing and bring vaccinations to this community, and I can guarantee you it has saved lives. We don't know whom, and in some ways, that is the greatest generosity you can, is to give something so precious when you don't even know who's going to get it. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that, you can turn on the news any night of the week and you hear the hatred, the conflict that exists across this planet of ours. And we often say that love conquers hate. And that's what B1C is really about. It is about the love that they bring to the community, the members of the community, the immigrant community. But they need your help. They really do. I don't know of anyone who can do more to help our world than B1C with the love that they bring. But it does need your help and your support. So thank you very much for all you have done for B1C over the last 10 years. And we're going to start off with the next 10 years and do even better. But thank you very much, and thank you for having me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Martin, for those words and for your support over the years. B1C always works to cultivate new partnerships and strengthen existing ones. Tonight, we wanted to share with you a few words from one of our long-standing partners and a great friend of B1C. You will hear from Juanita James, the CEO of Fairfield County's Community Foundation. The foundation has been an incredibly supportive partner to B1C over the years.
Good evening. I joined Fairfield County's Community Foundation in 2011 as president and CEO, which was the same year a little-known organization called Neighbors Link Stanford opened its doors. And that organization became Building One Community. Little did we know the profound impact Building One Community would have over its first 10 years of serving Fairfield County. B1C was our partner in FCCF's effective nonprofit consortium, which was led by Harvard Business School community partners. And B1C was actually this impetus for our 2013 Immigrant Symposium held at Housatonic Community College, which was attended by 120 community leaders from every sector of Fairfield County. And they partnered the Immigrant Community Needs Assessment, which we replicated with B1C's help to assess the needs of immigrants countywide. As we continue to work together in a variety of ways, including a key partnership to provide immigrant legal representation. B1C knows better than anyone that supporting immigrant success supports Connecticut as a whole. According to the American Immigration Council, 31% of Connecticut's population is part of the immigrant community. As a crucial segment of our population, immigrants have made invaluable historical and cultural contributions to Fairfield County. In addition, Connecticut's immigrants contribute over $7 billion in taxes per year and over $16 billion to Connecticut's economy each year. And Connecticut's immigrant entrepreneurs generate over $1 billion in business revenue every year. Building One Community recognizes the contributions of immigrants to our community and acts to support their success. Because, as we all know, the success of immigrants is intrinsically tied to all of our success as a community.
Thank you, Juanita, for your kind words. And now we have a message from Anka on the future of B1C.
As our evening comes to an end, I would like to say again a big thank you to everyone, our partners, our volunteers, our donors, our participants, and our B1C team. I want to take this opportunity to share with you some of our goals and actions for the future. We can't wait to keep growing and making tremendous positive impacts in our community. Looking forward, we will continue to listen to our immigrant community and be a trusted resource. Our approach is research-based, producing quality and impactful programming. Especially now, as we move past the pandemic, we will evolve and modify programs and services as needed. This, of course, also means focusing on financial stability to meet our goals and human capital management. And as you all know, we cannot do this alone. We will continue to engage the right partners, funders, and volunteers as a priority, building and engaging a coalition around immigration issues in order to accelerate impact. We're so grateful for your partnership and can't wait to continue to make more progress together. Also, we do have a high-performing and highly committed team working on improving processes and systems and programs and services. Tonight, let me share with you some of our future actions. First of all, we're super excited to be expanding our B1C team. Just this week, we had a new English language learning director join the team. She's extremely knowledgeable and passionate in her field. Her role is to help take one of our key core programs into the next level. We can't wait to see the positive influence she will make and she will have on creating an even more high-quality, accessible program. We're also actively looking to expand our immigration legal services by adding a removal defense practice. We're so pleased to be able to offer much-needed representation to people who are facing deportation proceeding, because they are often legally entitled to stay, but without an attorney, they are unable to defend themselves. You will see innovative programs such as our Immigrant Entrepreneur Incubator, or like our new IT lending library that goes hand in hand with our digital literacy program, supporting immigrants in their journey for job search and beyond. We will continue the expansion of our programs to the east side of Stanford. And let's not forget, racial equity is long overdue. B1C is playing a leading role in the community-wide effort to combat racism in Stanford, and we're intentionally building a more diverse and anti-racist organization. That's just a glimpse on what's got to come. Again, thank you for being part of our journey and for letting us be part of yours. 10 years is a long time, but it's just the beginning. So we look forward to many more years building programs and services that support the integration of immigrants into our larger community. So cheers to another decade.
As we wrap up this evening's festivities, I'd like to thank Anka for sharing her insights with us and for providing strong leadership during this most challenging of times. Taking over the job of executive director in the middle of a pandemic takes a fearless leader, and she is that. So now let's take a look and see where we are toward our 350,000 goal. 277, we're making great progress. Thank you all. Thanks for your tremendous generosity tonight. You are the reason we are able to bring programs and services to immigrants and their families as they learn how to navigate their new community. I want to let you know that donations will be accepted for the next several weeks, so please visit our website and follow us on social media.
Indeed, we're wrapping up this evening's festivities. I echo Anne's words about Anka, who has certainly proven to be our fearless leader, a person filled with compassion, strategic acumen, and brilliance. Anka, as you're watching tonight, we send you a great big thank you for all you do for so many in building one community. Now, I need to remind you that this event is being recorded so that you may have the nice experience of watching it fully at your convenience. Please share the recording with anyone who would want to know about our interesting programs. The link to the recording will be found on our website, B1C.org, as well as on our YouTube channel. Since this is our 10th anniversary year, we will be having a special celebration such as small events and videos, which will be seen on social media throughout the year. I recommend you follow us on social media platforms so you can find out right away what new exciting activities we're doing for our 10th anniversary. Please join our celebration. This fall, we will host our annual colloquium held at the Stanford Yacht Club. Again this year, we plan to have an engaging panel discussion on a timely immigration topic. This event will be announced on social media and on an e-blast, so be on the lookout for this one soon. This colloquium will be one not to be missed because you will learn relevant information about immigration, in addition to enjoying a fun networking hour. Now, you will see the sponsor list on the screen. A million thanks to our 103 sponsors who are individuals, who are companies and foundations. We are thrilled you joined our benefit this spring. This includes over 50 new sponsors. We are grateful to have this significant number of new supporters. We welcome you on board and know that you will be on an enriching journey with us. The majority of our sponsors are returnees, and a great big thank you for your loyalty and your commitment. We know we are a trusted resource for the immigrants, and we are a trusted resource for our sponsors and donors. We plan to continue this hard work, and our commitment will continue for decades to come with your continued support. The success of the immigrants in our community is the success of our city, and eventually is where we all win. Because it takes donations to continue our successful run, please note that our donation link will remain available on our website, B1C.org, for the remainder of this month and throughout June. To our sponsors, we will look forward to seeing you in a few minutes actually, at the sponsors only panel discussion with Don Strait and our wonderful founders, Catalina Horak, Kathy Walsh, and Kathy Ostew. To get the link to this, other segment, you need to refer to your confirmation emails, which you received yesterday and today from events@b1c.org. It is a different link than the one you used for this past hour. If you have any difficulties, please email events@b1c.org and they will respond to you right away. Now that you have all the instructions you need for the upcoming panel discussion, which begins in a few minutes, I say goodbye with a grateful heart for your generosity and for joining us tonight. Thank you and good night.